Hello everyone, this is daveac on vblog.tv and this is episode 053, a start of my second year of broadcasting. Woo-hoo! And it's for Friday the 24th of July 2009. And I've looked high and low for content this week. It's a nick to nick. It's a bunny wee lassie you have there, haven't you? Hoots high, Dr. Kibber and the Who. No? Not ring a bell? Well, there's a slight Scottish thing going on today, and that was a little rendition of a little bit of The Blood Donor with Tony Hancock, very famous comedian here in the UK, in the 50s and 60s, both on radio and then on TV. And The Blood Donor and the Radio Ham were about his two most famous stories. I'm not actually going to talk about those today. It's just because there is another Scottish thing. Well, two small corrections. There you are. That's the third correction. I'm correcting corrections. Good stuff. I was saying about the proms in the UK being now on. That's the classical music proms in London, and they're being on for about 3 or 4 weeks. Well, they're actually on for 8 weeks. They're on for 2 whole months, and they're featuring the piano in quite a number of the performances this year, and it's already underway, and I've caught a couple of them on the TV and 1 or 2 on radio. The other thing is I have a wine tasting at the end. I forgot to mention that straight off the bat. And I just noticed when I was checking which wine to do today, because I do occasionally buy the same wines, but I am trying to search out and explore different ones. I noticed that on episode 42 and episode 51, I'd almost tasted the same wine. It was a wine called the Harbour from Australia, and the first one was 2007 and the second one was 2008. So I apologise about that. They made extra care for the wine today to be a new one. Now I'm just going to give you a little bit of Doctor Who spoiler news. Now how can I alert that? You see, I've lost my little piece of paper I had it on. Pen in the air, spoiler news about Doctor Who, only minor. When I put my pen down, then you can come back. So here we go. Well, they've started filming the Matt Smith Series 5 of Doctor Who. And the BBC, because of course they knew that photographers will be swarming all around any outside filming that they did, released some photographs of the costumes. And Matt Smith, who plays now, will be playing the 11th Doctor, is wearing sort of a tweed jacket, dark pants, suspenders or braces, as you would call them, and a bow tie. Now, it could well be that, although this doesn't often happen in Doctor Who, it could well be that he's wearing a costume of the period, or it could be that that is going to be his ongoing look. His companion was Karen Gillan, was seen on set as well, and it's now been announced that her companion name will be Amy Pond. And there is one more spoiler that I'm only going to slightly refer to, that another person was seen during the filming who is a recurring character, possibly important in the Doctor's life. Say no more about that. Oh, and they've given the outside of the TARDIS a spring clean, a coat of paint and a slight redesign. And we're all hoping, of course, that the interior will be redesigned. So I'll put this down now because that's the spoiler done. Okay, that was the main thing I wanted to say about that. In the States, the Torchwood 5-part series, Children of Earth, is nearing completion. I think this being Friday, latest night, 9 p.m. I think it's Eastern Standard Time. Episode 5, the final part of Torchwood, will go out. Well, I had quite an interesting night last night. It was very late. If I sound a bit weary, it's because I was up to about 3:30. What the 2-Minute Time Lord and Merlin McCartney and Macaulay rather, sorry, and a few of the others were doing a live text chat while they were watching the episode go out on the American channel. So I logged in and joined them, and I had watched it myself and made my own little home recording of the Torchwood miniseries. So after a couple of goes, I got my recording synced with their watching the broadcast. They were very kind and told me when the pauses were coming up, and we were all being spoiler free until actual things had been happened. And without spoiling it here for you now, episode 4 is perhaps one of the most dramatic of all the 5 episodes, and the one actually I enjoyed probably the most of all. But that's not to say that episode 5 is anticlimax by any means. It's just that this one was such a powerful, emotional episode. So I do hope you will check out Children of Earth. If you've missed it, the live run, try and get it on DVD, as I believe it will be coming out on Blu-ray. Okay, what else? Oh yes, I went on Tuesday to see the latest Harry Potter film, and that is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. What did I think? Well, I wasn't too involved. It didn't draw me in, but that's probably because I haven't really read the books. The audience with which I watched it with, they seem to be getting a lot more off the screen than I was. I mean, there were a couple of scenes to me where, well, to be frank, nothing was happening. But the audience there was that extra, oh, and you could almost hear the odd, girls whispering to them, that's that scene in the book where? And obviously a lot of what was in the book got translated on screen, much to the appreciation of the audience I watched it with. But it was, I think it could have been done with having about 10 minutes cut out of it. But that's not to say that there isn't quite a big plot development towards the end of the story. But of course, this is the film from book 6. They've decided now for the 7th book to make it into 2 films. So this book, by its very nature, couldn't be too climactic because they're building up to the end of the series. But it was pleasant enough, enjoyable, but it didn't really suck me in. So I wouldn't say it was the best of the bunch up to now. Okay, I said there was a slight Highlander, Scottishy look. I've looked high and low for content, you see. There you are. Well, I said I was going to talk a little bit about the books this time, would be the Highlander ones. Well, I'm going to be fairly brief on that because I thought I'll mention some of the Highlander films while I'm at it. And time is always against me on these shows. So I'm reading one called Highlander, The Element of Fire. There are quite a number of these you can buy. Scimitar, and this one, Element of Fire, by Jason Henson. I'm just going to read you a small passage because, to be frank, this is not quite where I'm up to, but I mean, I'm past it, but it was hard to find an actual bit that gave you an idea. Let me read the bit off the back first, because I'm sure most of you will know. In fact, no, I won't. I'll play that on the DVD. Let's do this. This is on a boat. Duncan and Gabriella are walking together towards the dining room when he felt the presence. As the two rounded a corner, something hit Duncan in the gut. I felt like it, and a wave of nausea flashed through his body and head. He nearly fell back against the wall before he stood straighter and looked around. Gabriella took him by the arm and asked Duncan something he didn't hear. The wooziness had passed. The presence of an approaching mortal was something that after 300 years still took him somewhat by surprise. But he was better at it now than at the very beginning, and when the approaching immortal had made him then want to retch. Oh, not now. The Highlander looked around him and saw nothing. Close, but where? Duncan, what is it? It might be nothing, said Duncan. It's just that Are you feeling all right? Could I get you something? No, Duncan frowned. The presence was still there, somewhere nearby, but this was not a safe place. Gabriel, go ahead to dinner. I'll be along shortly. So, if you enjoy the TV series with Adrian Paul. I think you'll like these. This particular one with the salamander is not actually, I'm rereading it of course, is not actually one of the better ones, but those are the two that I've told you about the storage problem with books. So while we're talking about Highlander, let's have a look at the very start of, I've got three of the ones. Most of you will know the original story, and for most of us, probably, arguably, the best of the lot, Highlander. And that's with Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery, of course. Then I have missed some of the middle ones. I bought, because I was very keen on Adrian Paul in the part, I bought the Highlander Endgame, which was the fourth one. And the thing about this was they chickened out a bit. Although Adrian Paul was an established actor, they still brought Christopher Lambert in, because they were worried that people wouldn't think of him as, the immortal. Because, of course, they're cousins. They're both Highlanders. So that suffered a little bit, because it didn't mean that Adrian Paul was the full centre of the story. And then this is the fifth one, called Highlander the Source. And it's
The world has fallen into chaos and decay. There is no law, no justice, only death and destruction. Some say it's a sign of the coming of the apocalypse, a time that even immortals fear. There are two in our city. One of the immortals is Saiji. Driven by faith and desperation, he is on a quest to find the source, a holy grail of peace and salvation to some immortals. Many believe it does not exist at all, like Duncan MacLeod, an immortal who thinks the source is a fairy tale, an illusion created to give hope where there is none.
The Source. The editing is the main weakness of the show. Basically, that could have been a really good story, I think. Still watchable, but you do feel as though it could have been a better film. And that's all I'll say. But if you're a Highlander fan, certainly worth a watch. Well, I've been going on for some time now, and I really need to move on to my little tech bit. And that is, again, I haven't got anything to show you, but it's a little bit about Twitter. I logged into Twitter today, and I had a shock. Let me have a look. Let's go and have a look. For that, I'm not going to really show you messages, but this is the bit. Yesterday, my followers were 888. I switched on this morning, and I've suddenly lost nearly 50. Let me just get the next page up if I can. Yeah, I'd lost nearly 50 of my followers. I don't know what's happened. And this is the news, and this is from Twitter News Buzz Tracker. Twitter drops followers in spammer slash. Twitter has had a bit of a spring clean on spammers on its network, meaning that for many people will see a drop in their number of followers. Ooh. And let me see, there's a little bit more about it here. Here we are on a site called Tech Radar. Twitter drops followers in spam. If less people like you today, it's not your fault. Twitter has had a spring clean of spammers on its network, meaning that many people will see a drop in the number of followers. It's already sparked a number of sad tweets online, as people think it was something they might have said. But don't worry, Twitter is correcting data inconsistencies. And I think we saw a drop today of around 50 followers. Well, that's what I did, about 49. And while I'm on Twitter, let's just talk a little bit about a couple of the things. There's Twitter search. That's HTTP, no www, it's just search.twitter.com, and you can find out what's happening right now, trending topics and so on. Oh, in fact, look, Twitter correcting is one of the trending topics. Let's click on that and see what happens. So this Twitter deleted almost half my followers. Oh, real followers need only apply. Okay, right, let's go down. And one other thing about this, and that is there's a smashing little site called Twitterfall. I've got it set on wine and tech, and these. But if I see if I put followers in and see if that prompts any more drop. Oh yeah, and that's how the things come down. That's why it's called Twitter waterfall. The tweets come down, and I'll leave it to that. But you can see how. And also, if you want to find somebody else to follow who's interested in the same subjects as you, you put your subject of interest here, and it will give you an idea of finding people that have a similar interest subject to yourself. Group. Hopefully get the focus back, because I've got a feeling that I need to get onto my wine. Right, here we go. It's been open nearly half an hour now. Are we back in focus? There we are. It's Mikel, is that? Torino. Mikel Torino Collection. Shiraz. 2008. It's from Argentina, and I'm not sure that I can get that focused in there. I'm not sure that's going to focus, is it? And let's have a go. Now, actually, my nose is slightly blocked up this morning, so I'm not smelling a great deal. I'm just getting the basic, fruitiness. Ooh. Now, firstly, I don't know you can see that from the legs on that. It's quite a viscous, quite a thick, full body. That's strange, because it's not 14.5 or 15%, but it really feels quite thick. That's something I've never noticed in a wine before. That it's almost taking on the thickness of a fortified wine. I'm getting licorice. I'm getting dark fruits. I'm not getting any, very little tannins. Very little tannins. So it's not a very long finish. In actual fact, that's disappointing. It's quite nice fruit. I'm getting licorice and I'm getting a lot of body in the mouth, but it's fading away very quickly. There's no length on that at all. So that's a pleasant dark cherry, dark berry, and then nothing. There's no tannins, there's no forest flory types, there's no leather, there's that licorice there, but that's a little bit disappointing. That's not bad. That's just going to be definitely a midweek easy drink. So it's pleasant to start with, and then it doesn't really deliver after that. Again, I must have gone over 20 minutes. So see you next week. That's the end of Dave AC on the vblog 053. Oh, and don't forget our first show, episode 0 of the Cultdom Collective, has gone out on TalkShoe. That's TalkShoe ID 54821. The past and future of cult media. Hope you'll check it out. Bye all.